Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be discussing masks, schismogenesis, and autism, and see what the potential connection is, and there is. So, we're speaking on mask in general terms, regardless of their application to anything. So, one of the things, any symptom of autism that you get exposed to for a prolonged period of time without mitigation, without relief, without resolution, has the potential to initiate another symptom of autism. And these symptoms then have the potential to reinforce each other as a feedback loop. And then as a feedback loop, they can then provoke a third symptom. And then you can see how that spirals out of control. So one of the major symptoms of autism is low affect. Low affect is where you're not using your expressiveness as much as the average person, let's just say. So it'll function along a spectrum. Everything does. We all know that different people express themselves to a different degree. I tend to be very expressive. In different cultures, you'll find more expressiveness and all these things in different persons. And mode of expression is important in getting your point across. It's important in communicating all sorts of stochastic messaging. So not everything you say is in words, quite clearly. A lot of the things I say, just as you, are in the form of an expression, a body language. So that includes your face. That includes absolutely everything you do to communicate information. So when you are blocking off half your face, all right, you are in effect replicating what an autistic person tends to do in having low affect. So if you have low affect when you're communicating with others, they're more apt to read you wrong because you're not sending signals. If people are more likely to read you wrong, then statistically speaking, you're more likely to have a breakdown in communication with these persons. So if people can't get an adequate signal when I speak to them, if they can't get a back and forth that corresponds with what they understand to mean one thing or another, well, then your communication is going to break down more often. That just stands to reason. If you replicate low affect by then wearing a mask, especially in front of children. So if children, very little children who aren't even exposed to that many expressions in the first place. So this is a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, an infant, a child of any age is still learning all of these stochastic messagings, meaning the minor expressions you might make. Half your expressions are below your face. So if you cover up your face, you are covering a lot of stochastic messaging. Try to guess what expression is on my face right now. It can get ridiculous. You can go on forever. So what I'm trying to make the point is that a lot of messaging is being lost. If a lot of messaging is being lost, that can lead to more schismogenic interactions. If you get exposed to schismogenic interactions on a regular, it's very stressful. It's continuously reinforcing a stressor. It then makes your other interactions, and then if everyone, for whatever reason, let's just say, happens to be wearing a mask, well, you're not even getting adequate signals from anyone. You can have let's say 10 people that express themselves similarly at top, but not the bottom. So that maybe somebody when they go like this, they typically put another face relative to another person. So you'd be doing a lot of guesswork as to what it is they're trying to communicate. And this includes you communicating with them and them communicating with you. So all of that is to say that prolonged wearing of this, all right, prolonged wearing of this promotes schismogenesis. as a fact, prolonged wearing of a mask promotes and amplifies schismogenesis, and it replicates the symptom of low affect in autism. When you replicate one symptom and you do it enough and you do it with enough strength, you can just reinforce and create another. It's just like when you have isolation, you can reinforce low social fluency. When you have low social fluency, you can reinforce the isolation, but you can also reinforce low self-confidence because maybe you don't know how to communicate well with others. So that then makes it more difficult and then gives you an incentive to want to isolate yourself in the first place. So you can see how these things spiral out of control. All of that is to say there are consequences to having to wear this for a long time. There are serious, serious consequences. Being exposed to schismogenesis over time, as a fact, go look at the Pentagon report, go look at Gregory Bateson's work, see my work on autism, promotes schizophrenia, has the potential to promote schizophrenia, has the potential to promote autism, to induce it, to set that spiral out of control, has the potential to induce narcissism. One of the things that schismogenesis does is it amplifies self-inspection, let's just call it. And that functions along a spectrum that eventually becomes narcissism. It aggravates itself. So you don't want to be exposed to schismogenesis for too long. So think about it.